Hands up if you would like to be the owner of a brand that has grown so fast in less than 3 years that it's gone from zero, absolute zero, to turning over millions of pounds. What if you could take that brand into some huge partnerships with some of the most sought after retailers in the UK? And what about if you could, say, have fans of your brand, including Kylie Jenner and 342,000 followers on Instagram? Have you got your hand raised? The Gypsy Shrine is a brand that has managed to do all of the above in, like I say, just under 3 years. The Gypsy Shrine is a creative cosmetic brand. They make face glitter, body jewels, glitter bums, glitter boobs, basically everything glitter, and are adding to their products all the time, as we discuss later. I spoke with Jenna Meek, founder of the Gypsy Shrine, and discussed the fascinating story of how she and her now growing team have managed to get into places that, quite frankly, most startups would only dream about. You're listening to Life Design Diaries. I'm Ross Menghini, and in typical fashion for this podcast, we're not going to focus just on the sparkle, but dig deeper into what it's really like to be the founder of such a business. Jenna's shared so much good stuff in this talk, and I'm also quite honoured really, as, believe it or not, this is Jenna's first podcast, and so you heard it here first. Jenna Meek of the Gypsy Shrine. Okay, Jenna, welcome to our show.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm really good, thank you.
So we're sat here in your shiny new offices, and there's a big pink room with glitter everywhere.
Yep.
How does it feel to be moved into here?
Yeah, amazing. I think obviously when we started, well, our first office was a year in, it was about the size of this table. So to have it a warehouse and an office now is pretty, amazing for me.
Yeah, I bet. So like right now we're into your third year. Your revenues are soaring. You've got partnerships with Topshop. You're in Topshop. You've got partnerships with Maybelline, Warner Brothers, other like huge household names. Like, are you on plan for where you thought you were going to be when you started this?
No, not at all. I mean, this is all just kind of happened. I mean, it's not just happened because it's chance. We've worked for it, but it's never... 3 years ago, I never sat here and thought, right, this is actually going to become a business. For the first year, I just thought, okay, I'm having lots of fun. I've worked in London for a while and I'm just having fun now. I never really expected it to become what it's become whatsoever. I think each day I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy.
So did you see it as like a lifestyle business at the start, or did you have like huge vision for it?
No, not at all. I mean, without sounding big-headed in the sense, I always knew I wanted to be successful. I always knew that I wanted to have a business and never knew what that would be in. I always just presumed that it would happen, and maybe because I used to work in fashion, I thought maybe it would happen in fashion. So I never expected for this to become what it did become. We just kept seeing opportunities, kept seeing attention, and then it was like, okay, this could be something more. Okay, let's try this. Then that worked, and it was like, okay, maybe we do this. And then it was just... it's kind of spiraled without us even realizing, and it's got to where it is. It
seems that way. It seems like it's flown really naturally,
definitely.
really, And so, okay, you said you were in fashion. What was that transition like then, of going from what you studied and worked for before to actually making the step to starting the Gypsy Shrine? Yeah,
so basically I studied international fashion marketing at Manchester, and then I went into New York. So I did a placement year in New York, worked in Hugo Boss in visual merchandising and marketing. Then I came back to London and I worked for like tiny designers, like doing fashion week, doing product development. So I was developing like menswear jackets to couture dresses, like everything on like a high-end luxury scale for very small designers, which was really amazing because I was so involved, but it was just so intense. So I did that for a few years, and I think as everyone does, being in small businesses, you dream of this big business that's going to give you all these benefits and it's going to be so rewarding. You're really going to be able to take your holiday and take an hour for lunch, and that was just so appealing at the time when I was at these small businesses thinking, I don't have a life, but they were rewarding. So then I moved to Burberry, doing product development there, and it was amazing. Like, it was amazing to see how a big company worked, but it just wasn't for me whatsoever. I think being such a number in a big field was, I had all these ideas and I wanted to change all these things or do these things, and it was just, okay, just do your job, Jenna, everything's fine. And I'd be like, oh damn, okay. So then I lasted there about a year, but I think I'd already kind of not given up, but I was just like, this is not for
You knew
me.
it just wasn't
So I was
right,
already
yeah.
looking for different jobs, and I had about 4 years experience at this time in my CV in product development. So I just thought, I've got experience. If I quit and take 6 months to just enjoy like life for a bit, because I got my job like 2 days after I finished my university degree, so I've never like had a break in that sense. I was like, okay, let's just do a fun 6 months. And then that's when the whole idea behind the Gypsy Shrine came around, because I used to be, alongside working in fashion, I used to do body painting. So I did like a season in Ibiza, lol, I was like 19, and did a bit of body painting there, but never really took it very seriously.
Is that for like the zoo project?
Yeah, just like a bit of fun. But then when I did actually my placement year in New York, I went and found like this amazing body artist studio. So on my nights after my placement, I used to go there and we used to just like actually create body art, and it was just like insane. Like people would come in, it was just like a really amazing, yeah, it was just fun. And then I went on to work at the World Body Painting Championships in Austria, which again, I was just there thinking, this is just so much fun. How do I make this life? And then I thought, right, let's just do some festivals this summer and try and just have a bit of fun. And that's when the whole idea behind the Gypsy Shrine came about, and I started just look into festivals that we'd even want to do. Like I'd only ever been to one festival before we started doing this, and that was like Leeds Fest when I was like 16, so not really the festivals we have been doing. So that was all brand new, just trying to research how even happens at a festival, what do tents even look like. So then just started, made like a little 3D model of the Gypsy Shrine tent, took some pictures, and then just started sending it out to different people, and then just thought, I'm just going to quit my job. And then like January 2016, Secret Garden Party said, oh, you've been confirmed. And I was like, what? Right, okay, this is actually happening. So I was like, right, now I need to get money and buy a tent, buy a van, and just do this. So that's kind of where it all spun from.
What sort of like validation were you getting then from people? So you said you did like season Ibiza, and you were body painting. You were doing body painting. What were people saying that made you think, oh, this could be something bigger?
I think I went to like a day festival with my boyfriend roundabout for his birthday, and I think I saw a few people doing it, and it just didn't look that good, and there was queues that were so big, and I just remember thinking, I could do this, but I could do it better, and I could make it a bit more fun. And that's kind of when I thought, okay, let's just give it a go. And I never really thought I was amazing. I just thought this could work, I could do it a little bit better. But yeah, that's when it just all thought, okay.
Yeah, interesting. And what was the point when you started thinking about actually making your own products? Because that was more of a service, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So that was something that never really was in the first. I mean, the first idea was, okay, I quit my job, buy a van, do some festivals. September will come and I'll start applying for jobs again. So that was like the plan of action for 2016. And then I ordered loads of just like random jewels from China to like use for the makeovers. And I remember my dad was like, well, you've done product development now, why don't you just design and develop your own? So then that's when I thought, okay, this could work. And it was quite a coincidence. When I first quit, I was still looking for lots of work in London. So I got a job somewhere as like this designer in London for like a month over Fashion Week. And actually that fell through. So because that fell through, I remember going home one day being like, oh, I might as well actually just start to design these jewels. So if that had not fallen through for that month, I maybe would never have done that. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise that did happen. It's amazing, isn't it, when you look back, these little events kind of like have led you on a path which at the time you never would have thought that was even a big thing, but actually that's led on to. I know, it's crazy to think. And then I just started looking for factories, reaching out to suppliers. It's crazy how developing a jacket for Burberry is the same process as developing a packet of jewels. Right. So like the whole development process is exactly the same, from like the design stage, the tech packs, how you organise things with the factory and get it all here. So like all that logistics and all that stuff that I'd worked on for a lot of time was very similar to doing the jewels, I guess. Okay, I was going to ask you about that, because you've obviously, like you said, you've had experience in designing all of that. Now, when people from the interviews I've had and just
hearing from people in general, when they're kind of making that step and they want to design something themselves, the decision they have is there something already there that they can take quick, brand it, and then start, or do they raise investment or use investment and actually design it? So what was yours? It sounds like it was more of actually going down the design bespoke route.
Definitely. I think the whole why we've been so fortunate with this business is the products have been such low value to design and develop. It hasn't been a technical product like, for example, this microphone here that would need so much technical background into designing it, developing it, testing it and everything, where the jewels were very much quite a straightforward product. So that's where I did have the budget at that time to develop something with little money versus something that would be like a huge innovating idea that would need investment, I guess. So I still designed them all and then got working with a factory, and it wasn't perfect from get go. There was so much that kind of they'd send all the samples and they'd be wrong, and then it was just, so we have had to build a really strong working relationship with the factory to get such a good standard to where they are now. So that's kind of taken time, I guess, as well.
Yeah. Okay. You mentioned when you started and you saw it as like a temporary thing and then you were going to go back and apply for jobs.
Yeah.
But you also said previous to that you always knew you wanted your own business. Why did you not see this as like the really exciting thing at that exact moment that you were like, this is it, I found it, I'm going to go and actually pursue this?
I don't know. I think I'm just one of those people in my head. I'm like, I know I can do this, but when I start talking about it, I'm like, I can't say it. Right. I don't have that self-confidence to say it out loud. But in my head, I'm like, I've got this. And as stupid as that sounds, that's just me as a person. So I think I did know I wanted it to work, but I didn't want to be that person that was going to be like, guys, look at me, this is going to be the next big thing. Because I just thought, let's just see.
Like take each step at a time.
Let's just see if it'll happen. And everyone at first was just a bit like, what on earth is she doing? I think people just thought, oh, it's just Jenna, she's a bit mental, let her just have this one. No one really questioned. Like my friends weren't like, you're a nutter, stop what you're doing, go back to the day job. But I think probably people were thinking, oh, this is just standard from Jenna. I think it's just as it got, like the first few festivals we did, for example, were terrible. We didn't make any money. It was just an absolute shambles. I was spending like the 2 weeks after just like hoying off mud at my parents' house. My mum was screaming at me saying, "You've ruined your life. Like, look at you." Just covered in mud. No money. I was like, it is going to work.
Interesting. Because
it wasn't working at all. And it was just, but I did have that, okay, well, one will work. And then we finally did well. But I think because doing the festivals, that's what made me think, okay, this can be something, but I don't know if it can be the festivals. Like the festivals are amazing, but we don't make that much money at them, and we wouldn't have this office today if we just had the festivals. So I think that's what started making me think, okay, what else do we need to do to make this more of a business? And then it was like the jewels, for example. Then it was like, okay, well, where do we get the jewels? Do we just sell them on our website, or do we sell them to wholesalers? And I just remember that's when I started thinking, right, I want these everywhere. And that's when I then start making pictures and reaching out to buyers and going more down that route, thinking, yeah, we can do the festivals because that's fun, but actually there's a business opportunity here maybe is to push this and ride with this one.
Okay. So, I mean, how would you say that you operate? Is it more of because during that time when, you said the first festivals didn't go very well, are you more analytical and thinking, well, okay, well, what's the solution? And you've led to the jewels, or is it more kind of like a gut feeling, or, because there seems like that must have been a really difficult time in that you've tried it, like you said, your friends think this is just classic Jenna, as you say, and you're like, I feel like I'm going to do it. Is that based on the feedback that you had and you saw it, or is it just like some kind of knowledge or gut feeling? I think I thought I can't let this fail.
I think that was probably my gut feeling, like I've got to make this work. That was my only option. It wasn't like, oh, this could fail. It was like, I can't let this fail. So I think that's why I just really wanted to push that. But I think the biggest thing that I learned in the first year, which as when you first start, I maybe just thought, right, I'll do these jewels, I'll post them to 20 big influencers, everyone will post them, I'll get loads of orders, happy days. And that was like the first initial thought. And then this was back when Instagram was just starting to like go crazy, before people were charging like a lot for posts.
Right,
And
okay,
I mean, obviously
yeah.
the big ones were, and because obviously they've got the following, so why wouldn't they? But it was a lot before everyone was kind of on the Instagram hype.
Yeah.
So I was sending out a lot, but then it was very much every day was like, oh, some replied, and you'd be having a really big high and it'd be amazing. But then the next day you'd get like a knockback, and then the next day it'd be a great response, and then the next day it'd be a big knockback again. So it was just, for the first year, it was really like monitoring. It was kind of just staying like strong and level-headed throughout that, because it wasn't like every single day was happy going. It was, every single day was like, it was like a proper roller coaster. I know people explain things as being a roller coaster, but it really was. It was just like, we got big things, and then the next day they'd have to cancel, and I'd be like, oh, this is insane. But then the next day we'd get something else, or I don't know. And when I say we, it was still just me at this point.
Yeah. No, it's fine. We is quite common, isn't it? You associate.
So yeah, no, I can't remember what the question was now, but I've just gone off on one.
Okay, no worries. There's no real direction to this. We're just exploring. Like, one thing that interests me as well is how much time you spent on. You mentioned like Instagram was like going for a big stage at that time. You look at it now, and obviously Gypsy Shrine's got a huge following on Instagram. It's had loads of influencers. But how much of your time did you spend online versus offline? Because I think when you look at a brand externally, you could easily think that they've just gone onto Instagram and other social channels, got a huge following, and everything's just plain sailing.
Yeah.
But from you, I kind of know that there's more to it in terms of the offline activity that you've been doing as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well with the Instagram, there's a lot of you just see a picture, but that might have been like a full day of doing the shoot, doing all the body paint, and actually taking 20,000 photos just to get the right one. So kind of everything we've posted is all like the content we have created. We do repost people's work now, but back when we first started, it was everything that we had created at the festivals, at photo shoots. So it was all of our work and all of our ideas. And I think because everything was quite new and people hadn't seen it before, that's why everyone went a bit crazy, because it was new, exciting content. And I think that's what we try to keep driving and keep reminding ourselves now, is just the newness, like just bringing out new ideas and kind of thinking of new fun things that people want to see on social. And that's more of our challenge now. Because we're like, where else can we put glitter?
Yeah,
stupid things
explore
like that.
all avenues.
We have definitely broken the internet with just being stupid with where we've put it, and I think a lot of people will probably frown on that and be like, oh God, have some class. But actually, it got us about 80 million views.
Wow.
So there's actually a tactical reason behind putting glitter on someone's bum, putting some glitter on someone's boob. It was to get the outreach, it was to go viral, it was to get talked about. And I do think that's why we have got so big, because we have kind of broken the rules. We have kind of taken things to the next level and been a bit, outrageous with what we're creating. So I think it's just having those ideas. And actually, when we first started, it was just like me going, oh, let's do this. Yeah, we did glitter boobs in the Rise Festival on the top of a mountain. The poor girls must have been freezing. And then that went viral. But that was just me going, oh, girls, do you want to do this now? But now it's actually kind of in our processes where we think, what crazy content do we create with every single thing we do? Because we didn't even realise back then that we were doing it for a purpose. But now it's like, oh, that's actually what made us get so big. So now it has to be factored into almost everything we do. Like, if we bring out a new product, what's the crazy content that goes behind this? Right. It's not just new product, swipe up to shop. It's new product, and this is the next crazy thing that everyone's going to start talking about. So it's just having those constant ideas and just, having people go, oh, that's weird, or that's cool, and that's fine. At least people are talking about it.
It stands out, definitely. Because
exactly.
it seems like that you... it's absolutely taken off, hasn't it, in the last 3 years? Is that something that, do you think is, why do you think that is? Why do you think it's had such growth and such traction in such a short space of time? Yeah,
I think one of the big things for us is back in 2017, we, Insider Beauty messaged me in the info email, and I hadn't really heard of Insider Beauty, and they were like, oh, we love what you do, can we share it? And I'm like, yeah, of course, like, share away. And then obviously because it's an American company, and the next morning I woke up and we had like stupid amount of orders. Our Instagram had grown by 80,000 following. Our Facebook had gone up like 50,000 following overnight. And then when I looked, it's because the video that they'd posted had gone viral through the night.
Right.
So it had about, I can't even remember, like something stupid, like 40 million views by the end of it. And that it was then our orders just went crazy, because I think that was the first time America really saw this huge, like, fun, crazy, got a bit more wild at the festival look.
And how soon was this to your start?
A year. So it was like, well, I maybe started about March, April 2016, and it was January 2017 that this happened.
Right.
And that's when we made so much, like overnight we made so much money. I was like, right, I can actually get an office. I can hire my first member of staff. And it was ever since then that the orders just kind of stayed steady. So I think because that going viral, it almost turned into this big trend that everyone wanted to do. And then...
Would you say that was your first kind of big break then?
Yeah, definitely. I think that was like, God, this is crazy. We can actually hire someone. And I remember Charlotte, who's still sat in the office now, she actually moved over from ITV. And I remember my dad make me send her this email saying, you do realise this is a tiny company. It might not be here in 2 months. It's kind of like on your back if you want to leave ITV.
Warning.
To come here. And we still always laugh about her receiving that email from me. But yeah, I think that was definitely a turning point. And then in July last year, we managed to go onto Love Island. So we went into Love Island and we did like a big glitter party. And I think that was seen by millions. So then that almost became a trend, doing a glitter party. And I think that helped us a lot. Orders went crazy.
Yeah. Okay. How did you get onto Love Island? Really
a lot
interested
of pestering.
To know. Was it?
A lot. Constant, just like finding every single contact, probably is wrongly through LinkedIn, sending pictures, calling people. We literally broke our backs to try and get on there. And then actually my friend, I went to school with Scarlett Moffat, who obviously is big TV presenter now. And I remember messaging her just saying, I've tried everything. Do you have a contact? And she was like, yeah, I'm actually really good friends with the TV producer. I was like, amazing.
It's quite a nice in.
Yeah. So she gave me the contact. I remember just calling him. And just like, he was like, oh, you've really tried to get in touch with us, haven't you? And everyone in the office is talking about it because there's about 1,000 emails from us. So then he was like, okay, we can do it. And we were just like, okay. I don't think we realised how big of an impact that would have had on us as well. But that was really amazing that we got to do that.
I think that's a really important point though to highlight, is like the persistence there.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, so many people would say they've tried or want to get a result and then like send an email and think, oh, it was a no one
definitely
replied, but it sounds like you went to town.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the reasons we have got to where we are, is because, for example, even with Topshop, we've just never taken no for an answer. Like how we got into Topshop, Topshop was like my goal. I knew I wanted to be in Topshop, and I knew I was going to do whatever it took to get into Topshop. I used to pester the buyers every week, probably sent about 1,000 emails. She replied to me once, and she just obviously didn't love the product, which is absolutely fine. She's a buyer, she can do whatever she wants.
Didn't like it initially?
Well, I'm probably just guessing not, 'cause she never actually ever did buy it in.
Okay.
So then I was like, right, this buyer is not going to buy in the product. How else can I get into Topshop? So then I started brainstorming different ideas on like different routes, and it was getting to Halloween. So I thought, well, why don't we do a marketing activity in Halloween and do like a pop-up where we offer makeovers. So I did a big creative pitch on like PDF, and then found the marketing manager at Topshop and sent that to them. And they kind of loved the idea. We had a phone call and they brought us in as like a marketing activity. So customers had to spend £50 and get a free Gypsy Shrine makeover. So then that really worked and that went crazy. And then I think off the back of that, concessions then reached out and said, well, that did really well. Do you want to do a pop-up concession at Christmas? And we were like, yeah, definitely. And then because that sold through the roof, that's when all the conversation started happening about potentially becoming a concession at Topshop. So now we're a concession at Topshop versus a bought-in product, which is actually so much better because we have about 100 different SKUs in Topshop versus if the buyer could choose, what products to bring in, they might have only bought in one face jewel and they might have just put it on the till point.
Yeah,
where now,
it's
for
an
example,
actual...
we've got like a big table fixture. We've got, I mean, in Topshop Oxford Circus, we have huge signage as soon as you walk in, and we have like a really huge space. So yeah, it's kind of all worked out really well, but that was definitely through persistence and not accepting that no, I just thought, you want to buy it? Like, I just told myself that you do want that in there, even though they didn't, and I made it happen. So yeah, and we do really well in Topshop now. So it's really good.
Yeah, it's amazing. I went to the one in Trafford Centre. Manchester. It looks great. It looks really good. But where do you get these ideas from? It sounds like you're quite a visionary in the way that you're like, I see this there, and you know, you've actually pitched them a full-on concept. There's a lot of work, pre-work, and then obviously persistence. Where do you get your ideas from?
I feel like I always just think, especially when you're working with brands, is you want to make, and what I always did in other jobs is my managers or anyone, you want to make their lives easier. And I think when I work with companies, that's what I always think as well. I want to make your life easier. So instead of me saying, hey, let's work together, and they have to come up with a concept, we kind of pitch all these different ideas, and they just have to like one and change it a little bit. And I think it's putting that much work into it that gives you that respect with the businesses, because they think, wow, this person's actually spent a lot of time. They might be worth a phone call versus just messaging and saying, hey, we should work together, because that just shows that you've not really cared that much to put the time in to really work with them. And then I think in terms of just the ideas, I don't know, it just seems to just come to me.
Is it because you really know the product, the marketplace?
Yeah,
you kind of know
is.
As a person who would use it yourself, you live and breathe it almost.
Definitely. I think it's kind of, we've seen what works, we've seen what hasn't worked, and I think that's what gives us that's what helps when we're speaking to these buyers and these brands, because for some reason, again, which I don't even know how it's happened, is we have this such young audience that all these big brands now are like thriving to have this Gen Z, that everyone talks about, this Gen Z audience that we have captured, and we've got such an engagement on, and we've done it without even realising. So we've got quite a leeway now to negotiate with these brands to say, bring us in and we'll bring footfall, bring us in and we'll bring almost a fun credibility to your brand. And I think that's why a lot of brands are now really wanting to work with us. So yeah, I think that's how it's kind of happened, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So I can imagine now, like you said, with the audience you've got and the engagement, does your pitch become easier now as you're reaching out to people? Because like you said, you've got this big thing you can bring them. It's almost in their interest.
Definitely. I think, not that it becomes easier, I think it's just now for us to try and figure out I think we're at this stage now because we're like, oh, Topshop was our goal. We've got Topshop, and now it's like we need to figure out what else we really want. And we do get brands coming to us all the time want to work with us. And at first we were like, yes, let's do it all. But now it's about actually thinking, well, what does that mean to someone like Topshop if we went into their competitor?
Yeah.
That might just really piss them off. And we've worked so hard to keep that relationship. So it's actually having more tactical decisions, and we have to turn down quite big brands that I never thought 3 years ago I'd be saying no to. But fortunately, you just have to make those decisions to keep other people happy and not just be a sellout company that just wants to make as much money and be everywhere because they think that's good. It's more just nourishing and getting it right. And then I think you have more reliable customers as well because they get more excited to see your product. Like if your product's in every single shop, they're just a bit like, oh, I can get it anywhere. Everyone's going to be wearing it. So it's making it a bit less accessible to the customer, I think.
Yeah. And as you've grown, you've got more partnerships, you've got more people, engagement, everything. Like you said, you've had to hire people. Yeah. So what's that process been like, taking on staff? How many staff have you got here now?
We've got 8 in the office. Yeah, I think that's definitely been, I think probably as everyone you speak to and everyone that's got a business, staffing is definitely like the hurdle of how. And I think I always laugh and say, I wish there was just a tick list of staff, but there's just not. You just never know what person you need next or who you need to bring in. And because I did start it on my own, I've always had, everyone works insane in this company, but I have just had that mentality that everyone just works the absolute max and you've got to be an all-rounder. So it's always just been like, we've got really busy in one area and we're like, oh, we need someone to help there. Then we hire someone, and then we're like, oh, we're really busy here, and then we hire someone. It's just, we don't really have like a set, okay, once we hit this turnover, we'll get this person. It's just like, when we can't cope anymore, we'll hire someone. And that's kind of how it works.
And do you find that you find people quick? How long does that pain go on for sometimes?
It's dependent, really. I think.
I mean, it's a cool company to work for. Let's be honest.
It's hiring and stuff is so difficult because you might be in a really busy period and be so desperate, and you just hire and then it's not right, or you've actually got time. And I think hiring is definitely like one of the areas that we need to get better processes with. But a lot of the people in here are actually interns that worked really hard and got recognised and then got offered the job too.
Yeah.
And then there's some people, I have a thing about just hiring people I know because I
well,
like doing that.
Them.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of the people actually, two of the girls I know, yeah. So,
cool.
Yeah, and I just think it's just a nice fit.
Yeah, of course. And does your dad still send the warning letters to each of them?
Yeah.
Does he calm down?
No, he got sacked from that job.
So you mentioned your dad. Your dad's cropped up quite a lot throughout this. What involvement has he got in the business?
He's just kind of, I think he's very good in the sense that I obviously do. He's very tight on what I should be doing and what I shouldn't be doing. He's never had a business before, and he just can give as much advice as he can think of. But he does make good, valid points, and he is the person that I would talk to and kind of get advice from if it's like hiring someone or spending a lot of money or, I don't know, doing something that is out of my comfort zone. He's not necessarily got the right answers, but he also seems to be able to just guide me in the right way. So no, I think that's good.
And how big a general influence has he had on you, on your life?
Massive. I think he's always he's the one that's really pushed me into reading or motivational books and stuff like that. And that's what I've always kind of read since being about 16, 17. So I've always read those type of books, and I've always kind of just had that self-belief, which I think has really been one of the reasons why I think I've thought that I can make this really big. Mm-hmm. He's kind of drummed that into me. And so has my mum as well. I think they both have just what's even the word? Probably told me I'm too good, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but it's
definitely instilled confidence.
Stuck in my head.
Yeah.
But
how important a factor do you think that self-belief is?
I do think it is really important. I think quite recently I've maybe been almost not doubting that, but just thinking, has this become too big? Like, is this out of my depth? And as soon as I started thinking like that, that's when my ideas stopped. That's when I was like, oh God, I just want a job again. That's when my head just started going crazy. So it is so important to kind of big myself up in my head as much as I possibly can, and just tell yourself you can do that. And when I was feeling a bit, I'm at the max of what I can possibly do, I just started reading more books, listening to more podcasts, and just trying to question why I was thinking that and try and get out of that headspace. Because it is, I've got that pressure now where I have got a team of 8 people here that if I lose the plot, then everyone might lose the job. So you've got that added stress onto, let's make the business work, but let's also make sure that everyone can keep the job. Like, people are buying houses and stuff like that. So you need to make sure that you've got it right.
Yeah. So
you can't slip in your headspace. You've got to just stay focused, I guess.
And what's your go-to source of inspiration? You mentioned books. Like, what are some books and podcasts that you would recommend?
So my actual favourite book is The Magic of Thinking Big. So I've read it about 10 times, and I always just kind of flick it open and read bits. And then I also love Feel the Fear or Do It Anyway. So that's a good one.
It's her favourite book.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And I think I'm not a serial book reader. I don't pick up a book and read it till the end, but I'll just literally read a chapter, just get a bit of inspiration. And I actually just go on YouTube a lot for motivation. Like, I'll just type in motivational talks and I'll listen to them really cringe, super empowering ones. So it's like, if anyone walks in the room right now, I'm going to look like the biggest weirdo, but sometimes that's all it needs for me to go, okay, I've got this, let's carry on.
Yeah.
But it does seem to work for me.
It seems like you know when to dip into it and stuff. Yeah. Okay, so I want to get back to the some of your products and the kind of process there, because like you said, you started off as a kind of a service of body painting, and then it transitioned more to the products. And you've put loads of emphasis recently on the peel off glitter glue that you've released. Yeah. And I just read somewhere that how long did it take? About 9 months to actually develop? Yeah,
definitely.
What was that process like? Because that was right in the time when, you're booming, you're growing, and yet you're looking to design this new product.
So that's kind of where we're at now as well, is for the last few years, it's been like, oh, let's develop something, but we need it to launch in a week. And that's just kind of how the mindset's been. But with the peel-off glue, we wanted to bring out our own glitter glue, but everyone was kind of talking about how, one, it's starting to get really bad for the environment, the glitter, so that's why we moved over to biodegradable glitter. And then two, just the mess of removing it. So it was almost like we wanted to become the answers, and we want to become that brand that people go to for the best type of products. So that's when we then started developing an idea that you put the glitter on and you actually peel it off and you can throw it in the bin. So then it was like, okay, well, what other products are like that on the market? There wasn't really anything. So then I had a supplier, so we started talking to them. It was back and forth. We must have seen about 40 different samples, testing it, trying it out. And it is just a long process, because when you start getting into beauty, there's so many testings.
Yeah.
There's all the formulations that you've got to get confirmed, the packaging that you've got to get confirmed, the process of how that's all going to get filled. It's just a big, lengthy job, and the lead times on that are quite long. And to get the product right is so important, because you have to buy about 10,000 units. So it's not like the face jewels where I could buy 500 and hope that they sell. This was like, we've got to get this product right, because if we don't, we're going to be sat with 10,000 units of stock. So that's actually kind of where we are at the moment. For next year, we're going into 4 different categories. We're going into hair, we're going into makeup, we're going into skincare, and we're going into merchandise.
Right.
So we've actually just hired a new product development manager who used to work with me in London, actually, to kind of start developing now for stuff that might not be launching this time next year, which for a business like this is pretty crazy. But we just have to start, I guess, and accept that, and lead times are quite long.
Yeah.
It's just a bit annoying when you want to be like the first.
So
to
reactive.
everything. Yeah.
Because would you say you were the first with the body jewels?
Yeah, definitely. I think there was like a few bands doing like bindies and more like the Indian vibe thing, but there wasn't really anyone doing the body jewels or the boob jewels, or even like the all-in-one face jewel.
Right.
That didn't really kind of, to our extent. There was very basic ones with like 3 dots above the eye, but there's not like a full design or anything like that.
Okay, because I was going to ask whether you thought that you kind of ridden the wave at the right time, or do you feel like you kind of started the wave? You started that movement?
I think we kind of, but I think because there's been so many girls involved as well, I think what's been amazing is everyone that's been involved in the festivals have been so creative. So they might have done like chest jewels, and then that might have spurred the idea for the chest jewel, or I don't know, someone might have come in and just said, paint my boobs in glitter, and then that might have thought, oh, well, that could work. And so it's like kind of been a collective, just working with a lot of creative people, I guess it's really helped all the ideas come together. Yeah.
Okay. Just want to ask you a couple of questions about your general life now, what it's like kind of, working in this business. Like, what does your typical morning look like? I'm
actually I'm a bit terrible. I'll sleep till about 8, but then roll out of bed and I'm in here for 9, but then I don't go to bed till about, I'm not a mornings person. So I'll work till about midnight, but then I pass out and then I just can't get up in the morning. So I do want to get better at that, but that's, something I can work on. But in terms of like my day to day, I'm always in the office, or if I'm not in the office, I'm probably down in London or out meeting people. So it's very, I mean, we've just had the busiest month ever. So it's been Halloween, so it's been non-stop work. Weekends have been work. Nights are all work. So Christmas and New Year might be just busy, but then January, February, March for us does get a little bit quieter. So it's just, it's very seasonal. Yeah. And it just kind of, you just find the right times to get back on track. Like this is the first day I've worn makeup in about 2 months at work. Right. So I don't look like this most days. But I'm going to London, so I thought I'd better make the effort.
And what's your thoughts on like work-life balance? How would you describe, is it possible to have one? Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I don't think it is possible. I think, don't get me wrong, like I don't sit Saturday and Sunday on my laptop all day. I do like go out and meet my friends and still enjoy and have fun, but it's always on my mind. I'm always thinking if you just never stop thinking of work. You can never ever sign out. Like I'll literally be talking to my friends and I'll be like, oh, 1 second, and I'll have to email myself something because I've just remembered something I need to do at work. And I know they're all like, oh, Jenna's never off her phone, and I do try, but then sometimes it's very hard because I'm like, if I forget to email that, that's quite important. So I think it's something I definitely want to learn to get better at, but I think as we're growing so fast, it's something I can't really sacrifice right now. I think in a few years, if I'm still this crazy with it all, then I will have to think, okay, I can't carry on forever like this. But right now I'm like, this needs me to be like this crazy. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you said this is kind of how you visioned your life, isn't it? Because you said you always kind of wanted this business, and
exactly.
I bet you.
So I think you always just, I think, and everyone who has a business probably thinks the same, and it's probably not true. It might be true, but you always get too scared to lose the ball or like forget one thing. And if you forget one thing or you don't do one thing, that's when you have the trickle down effect of being like, oh, I should not have turned my phone off for an hour. I should never turn my phone off for an hour just because you might have forgotten one thing. So it's just trying to maybe teach myself that, I don't know, it's just getting that balance, which I do think is practically impossible when you have a business.
Yeah.
But I still have fun. I still go out a lot, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but
and also it's like...
the mindset, I think, is never going to be finish at 5, don't think about it till Monday.
Yeah.
It's always just going to be in your head.
Of course. And also, you know, when I say like work-life balance, I think a lot of people perceive that as work is negative and life is positive. So do you just see, you know, because you're enjoying what you're doing?
Yeah, exactly. I think for me sitting and just not doing work is almost, I'd rather be doing work. Like, yeah, I do definitely chill out and I don't always look at my phone. But I enjoy what I do. And if I'm working on that, it's only going to make it better. So it's not as if I'm like, oh, I'm slaving away to make this work. It's just fun for me. And that's why I kind of, love doing it all the time, I guess. Yeah.
What would you say is surprised you the most throughout this last 3 years?
I think probably working with so many big businesses. I think obviously before I started, I just worked at Burberry and I was quite scared of the hierarchy and the people above, and it was just very daunting to work with people at such a high level. But then since starting this and being able to go in and pitch to head buyers and talk to just lots of really big brands and people in amazing jobs, and just realize that everyone's just super nice and down to earth, and it's just getting it right. I think that's been quite nice because I was always very worried to be like, how am I going to be able to present myself into someone at Superdrug that's had 10 years experience in buying, and I'm like, oh, I've been winging this for 2 years, don't really know what I'm doing, think it's working, do you want to buy my product? But actually they're just still a person that is just inspired, I guess, by the story and like it too. So I think that's just been quite nice to, realise that everyone's just, it's just quite easy. Not easy, but it's just nice to work with people that are not going to be, it hasn't been too daunting is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Okay. And when did you kind of realise that? Is that just getting amongst it sort of as you met these people?
I think so. I think just kind of meeting people, and I think they also obviously help you with your confidence and knowing that what you're doing is actually okay. It's just when you get people buying in stuff and people accept getting yeses, and I think that's just all very nice, I guess, and it makes you think, well, if they can want us, who else will want us? And I think it is just about, that's helped us grow our confidence. If one big brand's wanted us, then someone else will. Or I think that's maybe how we did get to Warner in the end, because it was almost like a stepping stone. So why wouldn't they want us? And that's just how we had to think. If we thought they'd never want us, we wouldn't have even dared go in with a pitch. So it's just almost telling yourself that everyone wants you. Even though they probably don't, but if you tell yourself that, then that's how you'll get there.
No. Well, because then you're actually positioning it better for them, aren't you?
Exactly.
No, I definitely agree. Okay, then I just want to kind of finish off by asking you, what would you say are some of the key kind of traits, skills that yourself or people would need to kind of see anything like the growth that you've had in this time?
I think to kind of be really on the ball with knockback. So if you get a knockback, it's figuring out, okay, well, if they've said no, then someone else will say yes tomorrow, and just kind of constantly going and not taking anything personally. I think even though as much as I'm so attached to this business, if someone turns around and says, I hate what you do, and I'd be like, okay, that's fine, you hate it, but someone else loves it. So it's almost just having that really big-headed, weird confidence in the business. You don't have to have it in yourself, but have it in the product and have it in what you're doing, so that if you can sell it and you believe in it, people are really going to believe in it as well. So I think that's really valuable. I think just thinking outside the box a lot. I think there's a lot of brands, and we've obviously seen it a lot, that are really just copying everything we do now. So if you are setting up, it's kind of thinking, right, well, yes, a lot of products have been done now, and that's absolutely fine. But if you're going to set up a business, don't just follow what someone else has done. Maybe it's follow the product, but then how are you going to make it different? And just constantly thinking, how is your pitch different to what their pitch might be if you're trying to get into the same companies? So just always, being different and trying to really think of something that someone's not doing just to get noticed. So I think that's important. And then just be willing to work like crazy, and I think that's probably
work hard. And I think one thing that's really standing out to me is persistence. It's like your vision, and then your sheer willingness to just keep going,
definitely,
and actually get that result, as opposed to give up along the way. And like you said, like handle the knockbacks. If you don't feel like they're responding, try and find another way. Yeah,
definitely. I think it's just not taking no for an answer, really, and just being like, I'll turn this into a yes. Somehow.
Absolutely. Okay, Jenna, it's been awesome having you here. So
you.
Thanks so much for your time during this busy period of yours.
No, you're welcome. Thank you so much.
And just lastly, where can people, if they aren't aware of where they can find Gypsy Shrine, do you want to just let them know where they can find your products?
Yeah, so you can obviously head to our Instagram, where you'll be able to see kind of all the visuals I'm talking about on this podcast. It's just at the Gypsy Shrine. And then also you can go on our website or find us in top shops. Again, just all www.thegypsyshrine.com.
Perfect. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Just before you head off, we want your feedback. So please get in touch with the show. Did you enjoy it? Is there anything you think we could improve? Who do you want us to interview? Anything. We really, really appreciate your feedback. You can obviously leave us a review on iTunes if you like, or you can find us. We're very active on LinkedIn. Just search Ross Menghini or Lucy Menghini. On our website, lifedesigndiaries.com. We're also active on Twitter at Life Design Pod, or find us on Instagram at Life Design Diaries.